Everyone needs to understand this and realize that actions of this kind will lead to an unprecedented escalation of the conflict and will take it to a completely different level. There will always be a response from our side.
Ukraine's covert naval strategy against Russia's powerful Black Sea fleet has come into sharp focus, just days after the shocking submarine attack rattled Moscow's defenses. Reports confirm that on December 14th, Ukrainian forces carried out a precise and calculated strike on Russia's Il-38N maritime reconnaissance aircraft, a key surveillance asset. According to details shared exclusively by a source within Ukraine's security service, or SSU, with a Kyiv independent on December 23rd, this strike was part of a much larger operation. Shortly after, the SSU released an official video clip capturing the exact moment the Russian aircraft was destroyed, adding visual proof to their claims. The following day, on December 15th, Ukrainian forces successfully destroyed a Russian Varshavyanka-class submarine docked at the port of Novorossiysk, marking another tactical victory. Ukraine also shared verified footage showing the dramatic moment when explosive-laden naval drones struck the submarine with pinpoint accuracy. The Il-38N strike was not random. It was a calculated move in Ukraine's broader preparation to ensure success in the upcoming submarine attack. The Il-38N Sea Dragon aircraft, stationed at the Yeysk Airbase, was specifically targeted by Kyiv's forces before the submarine operation commenced. To disable the aircraft, Ukraine's military deployed an advanced drone carrying a high-impact, above-ground explosive warhead designed for precision attacks. The payload itself contained around 2,000 sharp, downward-directed fragments engineered to maximize structural damage on impact. The explosion detonated directly above the plane's main equipment compartment and radar systems, effectively crippling its surveillance and targeting capabilities. According to an official Ukrainian unit statement, the blast also severely damaged one of the aircraft's engines, rendering it completely inoperative. Designed for maritime reconnaissance, submarine detection, and oceanic monitoring, the Il-38N has long been one of Russia's primary eyes over the sea. At the time of the strike, the targeted aircraft was actively engaged in countering Ukraine's fast-evolving sea drone operations across the Black Sea. Valued at approximately $24 million, the Il-38N was Russia's only aircraft capable of tracking Ukraine's underwater drone activity in the region. By taking the plane out of action, Ukraine effectively cleared the skies, ensuring a successful and unhindered strike on Russia's prized submarine. Following the operation, the security service of Ukraine reaffirmed that it will continue targeting legitimate Russian military equipment wherever strategic opportunities arise. In recent weeks, Ukraine has significantly escalated its campaign against what it calls Russia's shadow fleet, a covert network of vessels used to bypass global sanctions and transport fuel. On November 29th, Ukrainian forces struck two Russian oil tankers, the Cairo and the Virat, during coordinated sea drone attacks in the Black Sea. Within days, Kyiv claimed responsibility for yet another successful strike on a vessel identified as part of Russia's secretive shadow fleet network. Soon after, Ukraine announced it had targeted and damaged a Russian shadow fleet tanker operating as far away as the Mediterranean Sea. Officials stated that the attack was carried out using long-range aerial drones, operating nearly 2,000 kilometers from Ukrainian territory, a testament to Kyiv's expanding strike reach. According to Ukraine's security service, the Russian tanker Kendil sustained heavy and critical damage during the operation. Notably, Russian President Vladimir Putin has publicly vowed retaliation, warning that continued attacks of this kind would provoke a formidable response from Moscow.
I can't help but ask about the strikes by Ukrainian drones and unmanned boats, and here's why. It seems that besides trying to hit critically important infrastructure inside the country, there are attempts to target Russian exports, particularly the supply of Russian energy resources abroad. Some heads of state have already expressed their concern, including Turkish leader Recep Tayyip Erdogan. There's a woman sitting next to me from Rostov-on-Don, and of course, I can't help but recall that just the day before yesterday, as a result of a strike on a civilian vessel in the Rostov port, 2 crew members died. Prior to this, the Ukrainian regime targeted 4 tankers in the Black Sea. Will there be a response from Russia? If so, what kind? What could be a possible Russian response in the event of a potential blockade of the Kaliningrad region if such a question were to arise in Europe?
Let's start with the second part. I hope this won't happen. If we are faced with such threats, we will eliminate them. Everyone needs to understand this and realize that actions of this kind will lead to an unprecedented escalation of the conflict and will take it to a completely different level, expanding to the point of a large-scale armed conflict. Everyone needs to realize this. As for the strikes on our civilian infrastructure, in response to this, as someone from a military media outlet, you know that our forces regularly respond to this by delivering retaliatory strikes, which in their strength, power, and precision are just incomparable to what the Kyiv regime does. However, anything that harms civilian infrastructure, not fighters, but people who are not involved in military actions, is, of course, worthy of the most severe condemnation. There will always be a response from our side. This is done partly for utilitarian purposes. To increase insurance premiums, this will not lead to the expected result. And in the end, it won't disrupt any supplies, but will only create an additional threat. Responses from our side will undoubtedly follow.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in a statement posted on December 22 via X, described the US-led peace talks as quite solid at this stage, hinting at cautious optimism in Kyiv's approach. Meanwhile, Russian and Ukrainian negotiators recently held separate discussions with US officials in Miami, as both sides explored potential frameworks for peace. However, the Kremlin has been quick to clarify that these Miami talks should not be mistaken for a major diplomatic breakthrough, tempering expectations within the region. US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff characterized the meetings as productive and constructive, noting meaningful progress even amid complex disagreements. Still, critical issues, particularly around territorial control and long-term security guarantees, remain highly contentious, according to multiple sources familiar with the talks. It's important to remember that Russia continues to demand territorial concessions, while Ukraine insists on binding international guarantees to secure its future sovereignty.